Welcome to the channel. This is Waga. We are going to start building our Instagram clone. Our Instagram clone, of course, will have a backend. We'll use Firebase as the backend to handle the authentication. We'll use Firestore to handle the posts and comments, and the storage to handle our images. And what we're going to do today is we're going to start working on our sign-in page. We'll work on our sign-in page for this video. So our sign-in page will look like this. You can see it on the right. And we will build it completely from scratch. We'll start from scratch, build it, and we can see that this is a secure field, and this is a text field, and this is actually the same component. I've broken it down into a component that you can reuse. So this is a reusable component that you can either turn into a text field or what's it called, or a secure field, right? And we have the logo welcoming you back, and a button which you can use to sign in using a modifier. So we're going to be doing all this today, and yeah, as always, subscribe to the channel so you can get the next video, this video and the next one, and also have a look around at various projects. I have if you're interested in Flutter, I have projects with Flutter, several projects including a Tinder clone with Firebase, and I will also be starting in the next coming days. I'll also be building the same project, Instagram, on Flutter. So if you're interested in Flutter, you have content for Flutter. But today we're going to concentrate on SwiftUI. So without much further ado, let's get to work. Let's get to building our app. So you create a new, let me just close this and make this bigger. Okay, so we create a new app, and when we come to the app creation page, we just hit next, like so. And we can call it whatever we want. We could call it, let's call it Flexigram. Like so, Flexigram. Feel free to create a more compelling name. I'm going to call mine Flexigram, and after that we're going to hit next, and wherever you want to create it. Oh, I already have, I'm actually creating a Flutter project called Flexigram, so I probably have to come up with another name. So let's call it Flexigram 2. So if you're interested in Flutter, there'll be a Flutter project, Flexigram, same thing, coming up in the next few days. Okay, so we hit Flexigram 2 and we hit next, and we can just hit create, and it will make it for us. And after that, we would start off by coming to the Flexigram on Xcode12, right? And after that, I could come and create a new group. We could come here and say new group, and we're going to create the component. Now we're going to create a reusable form field component, because the form fields are the same, right? And whether it's an email or a password, a secure field and a text field, they're basically the same, right? So we're going to create one form field that we can use either for the email or the password or the username, right? Because that's what we're going to use, right? It's just going to be the same component that we're going to use throughout. So that's what we're going to do. So what we do is we come to the component, and inside it, okay, inside the component, we can hit Command N, and we can have a new SwiftUI view, and we can hit next, and this one is going to be called the form field, like so. We call it form field, like so. We hit create, and we get our form field, right? And our form field, first thing is we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the previews, right? Let's just get rid of that. Give ourselves a bit more real estate, like so. We can save, and we can do the same to the other side so that we have as much space as possible. And you could get rid of the canvas, but I'm just going to leave it, right? And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a group. Group will allow us to give modifiers to specific stuff that we want to do. And after that, we're going to have an H stack. We could call it an H stack, like so. And in the H stack, we are going to have an image, and this is just going to be a system icon, right? So system name, and this system name is going to be it's going to be passed in, because we want, in our email we may want the mail icon, but in our password we may want the lock icon. So we're just going to pass it in, right? So we're going to say here icon, and we're going to give it a bit of we could give it a bit of padding, like so, just a bit of padding, like so. And it's going to complain because the icon is not included. So we could come here and we could create the variable for it. So we could say var icon of type string, which will be passed in when the form field is called, right? And that makes it disappear, like so. And within the H stack, we could come here and we could create another group. This group is helpful if we want to provide modifiers to multiple several things inside it. Now like I said, the difference between a secure field and a text field is that a secure field has those the text is blurred, and in a text field you can see the text. So basically they're the same thing and would be impacted. We could use a secure field. We could use, since we're using only one form field, we could just use the same modifiers because we want them to look at the same. The only difference is going to be whether we can see the text or they're blurred out. So for that, we are going to have a variable. Come here and say var is secure, like this, and we're going to default it to false because we have less passwords than we have than text fields. We have less secure fields than we have less secure fields than we have text fields. So we're going to default it to false, right? And we are going to continue from there. We would check if we are using, if it is secure, if a person is secure as true, we're using a secure field. So we could use an if else statement to check on what to render, right? So we could say if is secure, like so. If is secure, we're going to return a secure field, like so. And in it, we're going to pass in a placeholder, and the text is going to be value. We haven't created it, right? So for that, we could come up here and create the value. We could say at binding and say var value, and this is going to be a string, like so. So this will disappear. And placeholder, it's complaining because we haven't created placeholder, and placeholder is just going to be the string because the password is not going to have the same placeholder as as the email, right? So we could say var placeholder, and this is going to be the string, like so. It's going to be a string, like so. And we could come here and say, yeah, and that disappears. And so if it's secure, we return a secure field. Else, we are going to return the text field. This is for the email and the username and whatnot. So we could say here text field. Let me just spell it correctly. The F is capitalized, and this is going to be exactly the same. So you could say placeholder, and the text is going to be bound to the value, like so. So we do that, and the text is bound to the value, right? And after that, we could come and we want these modifiers to apply to the entire group. So we would come and on the group right here, like so, and come down here, and we could say dot font. We want it to have a certain size, so we could say dot font, and we could come here and say font dot system, and our size is going to be 20, and the design is going to be dot. There are 4 options: monospace, rounded, and sans serif. We're going to use monospaced, like so. And after that, we are going to use another functional modifier, and this one is for the color. We could say foreground, and the color here is going to be dot dot black, like so. And we're going to use a text field style, and the text field style is going to be rounded border text field style, like so, right? And after that, you're going to have we could have a multi-line. If you want to see what all these options do, I have a playlist of videos that break down the various views in SwiftUI, like text fields and secure fields and whatnot, and the various options, right? So you could have a look at that. Multi-line text alignment, and this is going to be leading. We want leading, and we want leading, and we are going to have disable autocorrection, and this one is going to be set to true. Don't want it marking around. And auto capitalization, we don't want the first letter to be capitalized, so we could say auto capitalization, and we could say none, like so. And auto capitalization, and after that we could give it an overlay. So we could come here to the H stack and give this an overlay, and so we could say overlay overlay, and the overlay is going to be rounded rectangle, and you know rounded rectangle requires a corner radius, right? Corner radius, and the radius we want a modest radius, we could say 10, and we want it to be a stroke, right? Just an outline stroke, and the color of the stroke is going to be color dot, we want gray, right? So we want gray like so, and we want a line width. The line width, we want it to be a bit thick, so we could say 4, and after that we could give it a bit of padding like so. So basically we have our fast reusable component. This is the form field. We can use it either as the email or the, what's it called, we can use it to type in the email, the username, and the password, and we'll use it in our sign-in view and our sign-up view. We will use it in both. So yeah, so that's why after creating this, we'll just call it and pass in we say whether it's secure, the placeholder, the icon, etc, and we get to it. So let's test it out. That we just created, and for that we would come and we're just going to test it in our content view, right? So we're going to test this in our content view, and in our content view, what we could do is we could get rid of the hello world, replace it with a VStack. Let's just call it a VStack like so, and we can call our form field like so, and it will require us to pass in a couple of things, missing arguments, and we can just hit fix, and the value, of course, we could say here state at state, of course you have to add the at state private var, and we call it let's call it mail, and this one is going to be just an empty string like so. And you know Swift is very finicky about putting a space in between an assignment operator, and the value here we could just bind it to $mail like so. The icon is a string, right? So the icon we want is, I believe, lock, and no, mail. We want mail like so. And the placeholder we could say is going to be e-mail like so. And after that we could run our app and see it and see what we get, right? So it's going to appear here, and so we have our text field, and we could say blah, 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 blah. And so we can enter our email there, right? And after that we can now come down here, and we could use another one. We could create another form field. So form field, this is going to be for the password, and let's just copy this line, copy it, come down here, paste it, and this is going to be straight private, let's say password like so. And first we are going to say missing arguments. We're going to hit fix. We're going to get all of them, and we're going to bind it to the $password like so, and the icon is going to be a string, so we could say here lock, and we could come to the placeholder and say password, and we could add the additional one is secure, and this one will take a bool. It's initialized to false, if you can remember. It's initialized to false, but here we're going to say true so that we get the secure field. So if we do this and we save and we run our app, we should get, yes, we should get this. Now the advantage of this is that we can I'm not sure the gray looks too good, but okay, fine, let's type it. You see here we get a secure field, and here we get our form field. So basically that is done. Now let's continue from there. We are going to create a group where we're going to put all our various views. So we could come here and say new group. Okay, the new group is going to be called views like so, and in it the first one is we're going to have is the sign-in view. So we could hit Command N, we could hit SwiftUI view, and this is going to be sign-in view like so. We're going to hit create, and yeah, and from there we are going to have we're going to come here and let me just save it, and what we're going to have is a VStack, and in the VStack we are going to, this is where we're going to put basically this is where our sign-in view is going to live. And so now we can start developing it, because we have already created the reusable text fields, and so we can continue from there. The first thing we could do is we could create an initializer for the VStack, and for that we come here and we say spacing. The spacing is going to be 20, modest spacing, and after that we can come here and we can put we can create the email and password. That's what we're going to need for the sign-in view, and for that we could just create the various variables. We could say state, if I can just spell it correctly, straight private var, and this is going to be email, and the email is going to be a string, like so. And we could repeat the trick. Come here, copy. I don't know the shortcut for how you do this on what's it called, on Xcode. I know how to do it on VS Code and Android Studio. The problem is you need to know, if you're working with different technologies, you need to know the passwords for 3 different IDEs, which is hard. There should just be a plugin where you can use the Xcode stuff or the VCode stuff or the VS Code. Anyway, enough rambling for this video. So we could say here state private var email, and this is going to be password. And so now we can use our newfangled what's it called, we could use our various form fields, but first we could have the logo, and for the logo we could come here and say image system name, and the system name is going to be, let's say, quote dot bubble. I don't know, is there a camera? Let me look up the app and see if there's a camera. Okay, it can't tell. The problem is that it won't tell you. Let's just look up if there's a camera, because the camera looks more like what's it called, like Instagram. So we could say font, and here we say dot system dot sys. Let me just spell it correctly. Dot system, and this is going to be size, and the size is going to be 60, and the weight here is going to be, we want it really bold, so we could say dot black, like so. And the design is going to be the design here is going to be dot monospaced. There are 4 options, right? So you're going to have dot monospaced. And now let's open our SF symbols up and check out the exact SF symbol we want to use. We want a camera, like so. So we want this camera, so we could pick this, and for that we would come down here and yeah, it's camera. There is something called a camera, so we can actually just use that. And after that we could have a VStack with the words welcoming a user back, and when the app starts, we're going to pretend that the user already has an account, so we're going to give him the sign-in view rather than the sign-up view. But then of course we are going to have a navigation to the sign-up view, right, if that is needed. So let's continue. So after that we could come here and we could say VStack, and the alignment is going to be lean alignment is okay. Wow, that was a lot. Alignment is going to be dot leading, like so, dot leading, and we're going to come here, and after that we're going to have a text. We can have a text, and in the text we could say we can just tell the user welcome back, since we assume that they have an account. So the font size is going to be dot font. This is going to be dot font, and this is going to be dot system, and in it we could have a size of let's make it 32, and the weight is going to be dot heavy. Yeah, heavy. And of course after this we could come here and we could just replicate this. Let's copy this text, copy it, come down, less heavier, and we could say what do we say? We want to say sign in to continue, like so. and this is going to be system, and the size is going to be 16, half the size, 16, and this is going to be medium, yeah. And after that we can now use our form fields that we have created our state variables for. So we could say form field, and we're going to bind this one to let's wait for it, and we put in the necessary arguments, hit fix, and the value here, it is going, oh no, oh, wait, the value here is going to be $ email. The icon is going to be is going to be a string, of course. It's going to be envelope dot fill, like so. The placeholder is going to be email. Let's say e-mail, like so. And we could repeat the trick. Could come here, repeat the trick, hit copy, come down, paste, and this is going to be password, the password, like so, and we continue from there. Continue. Now, the value here is password. The icon will be lockfill. Let's come here and say lock.fill, lock.fill, like so. And the placeholder will be lock.fill, and the placeholder here we could say is going to be password, and of course we are going to use is secure to make it a secure field. And yeah, and so we save that, and yeah, and after that we could just save it and continue from there. We want to create modifiers for our buttons so that we can modify the buttons we'll use in our auth pages, that is the sign in and sign up. So for that we could come here and in the components we could just create command, and we could call it modifiers. Let's call it button modifiers. Yeah, we could just call it button modifiers, like so. Hit create and come here. We could get rid of this preview. We don't need to see the preview here. And in the we could just write it out. Let's just write it out entirely. So we could say this is going to be a view modifier, like so, and in it we're going to have a function. We could come here and say func, and this is going to be body some view, like that. And here we're going to have the content, and we're just going to give it a frame. The frame is going to be the min width. The min width is going to be 0. The max width is going to be dot infinity. We want it to occupy as much space as possible. Dot infinity. The frame, we give it a bit of height. Here we could say the height is going to be 20. The padding, we could give it a bit of padding. We could come here and we add foreground color. That's the color of our text. We want it to be foreground color is going to be dot white, like so. And the dot the font, we want it to be we could come here and we say dot system, and this is going to be size is going to be 14, like so, and we're going to make it a bit bold. So we could say the weight of the font weight is going to be dot bold. Black is the heaviest, remember. And we could make the background color, let's make it black. It has to be color here because we're not using a background color, we're just using the foreground color because it's a color, it's expecting a color. You can just say dot white. Here we have to say color dot black, like so, and we're going to give it a bit of cornering on the edges. So corner radius we could have 5.0, like so. And we save, and after that we can now go back to our button. So we go back to our sign-in view, like so, and after the form field in question we could come here and we could have a button, button like so, and it's going to have an empty action for now. We're going to fill it when we start messing with Firebase. The action is going to be empty. Let's just do this like so, and we come here and we're going to have a text in it. The text is going to say sign in, and the font here, we want the font to be, the preset is going, we're just going to use a preset, right? We're going to say .title, and we are going to add a .modifier, and the modifier is going to be button, what do you call our modifier? We call it button modifiers. Okay, fine. Clumsy name, but fine. Button modifiers, like so. So we give it that, and as a test, we could come here and we could comment that out, and after that we could come to our content view, and no, where is it normally? We want to run our yeah, and we continue from there. Initialize this, so we could come this to an empty string, just initialize it to an empty string like so, right? And we could just uncomment out this like so, hit try again, and get rid of this, and hit try again, and we should see something. We should see our view, right? So it just puts the empty strings. I'd forgotten to do that, and it's taking its sweet time. And wow, okay, not exactly what I was aiming for, but we could first let's make this smaller. 100 is too big. So yeah, so basically that's the basic of what we want, but we could make it, we could improve it a bit, right? So the first thing we could do is button modifier. Okay, yeah, so the first thing is we need to give it a bit of space, because I think that this text is the button shouldn't go all the way to the edge, right? And that's what we could fix. Design, what we should do is first we come to this, we select this VStack for that encompasses the text, the form field, and the button. And what we should do is we could get rid of this the closing brace, and come and only close the text so that we can center it like so. We can put it in the center like that. And the next thing we could do is we could come and select the entire VStack with everything, and we could give everything some padding. So we could come here and we could say dot padding, and we just want it to be horizontal, so we could say, okay, yeah, that's perfect. You don't have to say horizontal. We could just have that padding, and it sorts itself out. So basically we have our original we have our basic sign-in page, and we can now add the the link to the next page, but we will fix everything in the next video, like so that you can click, when you click on the link you go to the next page. So for that is quite simple. Under the button we could have an H stack like so, and in the H stack we're going to have text here, and the text is just going to say, we could say here new, and with the new we could come down here and we say text, we could go and say create an account, create an account, and we could just say create an account, and after that we would have we could make the new create an account. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that, and we could make the font size a bit bigger for this, so we could come here and say dot font and we could say the font is .system here, .system, and the size is going to be, size here can be 20. The weight here can be dot semi-bold, like so. So yeah, so when you click on it, we're going to put a navigation link here later on in the next video. But yeah, so that's our basic page, and to see it, we could come to our Flexigram app, and instead of content view now, we could just have our sign in view, like so. And if we run our app, we should see it on the simulator. Give it a second. Okay, fine. So we have our logo of the image. It's a bit thick, the stroke, but we have welcome back, sign in to continue. We have our email, we could type in something there, and we could type in a password here, you won't see it. We have a button we can click with the word sign in, and we have create an account, which will put a navigation link to our sign up page. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. There'll be more video like this, and we'll continue building our Instagram clone, and very soon I'll be starting an Instagram clone using Flutter, right? So we're building one with SwiftUI and one with Flutter. They'll be running more or less simultaneous, concurrently, not simultaneously, concurrently. So one day you'll have a video for this, next you have a video for that, and we continue from there. So yeah, so thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.